What changes us in a spiritual awakening? One thing to consider is that we may have had a powerful energy force activated within us and experienced some sort of life-changing event. There's various things that can activate this, sometimes without you even trying. But it's better to be preparing yourself for that change, because a lot of times this force can be activated, you don't know what it is, and it can like send you into insanity. You know, this has happened to people. They don't know what's going on with them, what they're seeing, what they're perceiving, and why they're feeling these energy changes in their body. It said one name that has been given to the energy is Kundalini. Scientists from the Kundalini Research Network have begun to define Kundalini as an evolutionary energy, a consciousness force. It awakens, awakening affects a transformative process in the psychophysiological and spiritual realms and results ultimately in the realization of oneness of the individual and the universal consciousness. So it's connecting you. Next slide. I'm connected to what you didn't understand before. Transpersonal psychotherapists, again from the same group, Bonnie Greenwell, and a physicist, Paul Pond. They hypothesize, they're researching this, trying to understand it. And a lot of these are Westerners, so they're trying to get in touch with this knowledge that has been known in the East for eons. That Kundalini, they hypothesize that Kundalini or Ascension is associated with and may be the cause of many mystical experiences, psychic ability, creativity, and genius. Some observers know that Kundalini may be linked to forms of mental illness. And this is what they see, like they said, if it happened, some sudden event that just sent someone into another state that they didn't understand, it can actually harm you. But when it's done properly, it can be very healing. One of the network's goals is to make Kundalini known to the Western world, especially the scientific and medical communities. Therapists, healthcare workers, and those who have had Kundalini experiences but may not realize it. Phenomena associated with the rising and arousal of the Ascension energy is occurring with increasing frequency to Westerners who have never heard of it and have done nothing consciously to arouse it. The term rising is often used in this way to describe the arousal of the Ascension energy to an undetermined level and may or may not complete itself as a sustained evolution of consciousness. It can be partial, is what they're saying. Felt as vast rushes of energy through the body, Kundalini rising can create profound changes in the structure of people's physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual lives. Again, we want to define the word Kundalini, which is the ancient Sanskrit language for the energy. It's been very popular because that's what people have picked up on, this use from ancient times. It's saying that it means a coiled snake. The word Kunda means coiled, and the word Lini means a serpent. So it translates as a coiled serpent. In the mystical teachings of the science of yoga, the masters speak of a powerful energy contained and bound at the base of the spine. And this is where the energy is, where the first chakra is. And what has the base of the spine is the home of the root chakra. So why is this energy coiled up down there and it's not being released? It's the consciousness of fear that has suppressed this energy. Again, energy and consciousness, they go hand in hand. You can't separate the energy, the non-physical, that you can't see with the eye, from the physical, okay? All right. Metamorphically speaking, this energy is described as a 3.5 coiled serpent called Kundalini. And this word, 3.5, that's an interesting number. Does that number sound familiar to some people? And it's that 3.5 times times and a half. We used to see that in the scriptures, and it's making me see that a lot of the cultural and spiritual texts are trying to describe an awareness or an event that has taken place in man of being at several different stages of consciousness and going from one level to another. Another name for Kundalini is Shakti. This is a strong, powerful force. In the ancient Sanskrit language, the word Shakti means power. In the East, this powerful force of pranic energy is considered feminine in nature. Okay. We're almost there. Okay, we can move past this one. The next slide, I just want to show the energy moving, a description of the energy moving up the body. We're only going to show a short portion of this.
Now scientists are busy exploring ways in which the source of energy is stored in matter by smashing high-energy subatomic particles into protons. Similarly, Hatha yogis increase and direct their vital energy of prana Shakti to repeatedly smash against the nucleus of the Nadi system, Sushumna. Sushumna Nadi is the central pathway which the awakened prana ascends through. Sushumna is blocked until balance between the negative, lunar, tamasic energies and the positive, solar, rajasic energies is developed, so that the third sattvic energy of fire, or transformation, begins to take over and flow. Sushumna is the spiritual energy which then blossoms and overrides the previous dualistic conditions of the mind and body.
So again, we're talking about overriding dualistic conditions where a lot of things, a lot of energies that were flowing together were externalized and separated and then became polarized and then became into conflict with one another, starting from the masculine and the feminine separating. Okay? And we see this in a lot of the spiritual texts, that this is actually being described in one way, shape, or form. I'm showing some other depictions of the multi-dimensional self. Here's one in color. Let me go to the next slide. Here's one depicting the healing of the multi-dimensional self. At this first level, which is the physical level, they said that you would look at this as even the first chakra, the survival chakra. Healing for this particular chakra is becoming fit and strong. At the second level, which was, we saw it as the etheric energy, is the second level is very emotional. And healing for this level is having unconditional love for the self. Accepting the changes that you've gone through, accepting your path, accepting what you've had to learn, those mistakes along the way, but it was all to serve for a higher purpose, to get you in the right direction. The third level, again at that sacral chakra, goes from the ethereal to the astral level. And the healing of this level is creating positive thought forms. It's good to be positive. When you're positive, that energy goes out and creates for you. At the fourth level, this is the level of the heart chakra. And it's another energy field. Okay? It's healing for this particular level is unconditional love for others. Understanding why people have the problems, trying to understand what is it that they've gone through that gives them their issues. The fifth level, healing is gaining a sense of truth and purpose. The sixth level, healing is unconditional love for the creation. And at the highest level is remembering the perfection in all of life. Almost there. Again, we're going to look at the 7 chakras at another point and see how they connect to the endocrine glands. Next slide. And this is what's changing as you change. The root chakra connects to the reproductive glands, okay, and controls sexual development and secretes sex hormones. The sacral chakra, the second chakra, connects to the adrenal glands, regulates the immune system and metabolism. The solar plexus chakra connects to the pancreas and regulates metabolism. The heart chakra connects to the thymus gland here in the throat, near throat and heart, regulates the immune system. I'm sorry, it's right around the heart, the thymus gland. The throat chakra, it regulates the thyroid gland in the neck. It regulates the body temperature and metabolism. The third eye chakra regulates the pituitary gland, produces hormones and governs the function of the previous 5 glands. Sometimes the pineal gland is linked to the third eye chakra as well as the crown chakra. In the crown chakra, the pineal gland regulates biological cycles, including sleeps. And once this is all turned on, it begins to cycle. This energy begins to cycle through months and through days. It's a cyclic kind of raising and lowering of an energy within the body. This is what's been studied. Next slide, please. Again, we're just looking at the hormones. I just want you to see how many hormones are produced within the body. I can't name them all, but you see some: oxytocin, melatonin, I'm just jumping around, thymosin, the steroidal bodies, glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids. Then you have epinephrine and norepinephrine. The sex hormones, testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone. Okay, next slide. There are stages and phases to this awakening. There's a book called The Biology of Kundalini. I don't remember the author's name, but I glanced through it. And the author, he actually documented his own awakening. And he was talking about the stages and the phases that it goes through. He says, just like everything else in life, Kundalini cycles or Ascension cycles through a specific flow of chemistry. The general periods for a full-on awakening are 2 years in priming, 6 months is apex, 3 years is peak, 5 years is recovery, because a lot of it is the healing. It takes you through some certain changes depending on how you prepared for it. You might have to go through some recovery. But awakenings come in all shapes and sizes. The peak apex of a mature awakening is usually around 6 months. The awakening itself is usually around 3 years. Then the assimilation phase is perhaps around 5 years. These figures are almost impossible to contrive because everyone has an awakening specific to themselves. Each stage has its particular sensations, symptoms, emotions, and thoughts. Broadly speaking, the following outlines the linear process. That's it. I didn't take on the next page. Okay. These were some of the cycles that he documented in his book, The Biology of Kundalini. I'm sorry, I can't think of the author's name. But he talked about priming, shock, transmutation, main inner conjunction, die-off, heart-brain sync, substantiation. Once you're substantiated, I think you're more adjusted to these cycles of energy in your body. But he even talks about some things that look so rough that people go through. And again, more people are getting more information about how to go into these cycles more fluently. How you deal, a lot of them talk about the use of green foods and how that prevents you from going through the shock and all of these different things of these energy changes in your body. Okay, next slide, please. This is a person trying to give recommendations on how to slow down all of the shock and the different changes that people go through if they haven't prepared properly. He said the effectiveness of our spiritual practices obviously has a profound impact both on the awakening of Kundalini and the rate that resources are depleted within the body. While meditation makes the awakening of the Kundalini more likely to happen, it also eases its passage and reduces the depletion crash effect by making this is a specific channel, this HPA axis less volatile. It says it does this by synchronizing neural nets, which are nerve nets in the body, to fire in sync, thereby reducing energy wastage and improving nervous efficiency. It also stabilizes and amplifies the hormone production of the pituitary gland and reduces the spiking of the sympathetic fight or flight response. Because various brain areas are neurologically enriched by meditation, there is also more prefrontal control over the limbic system. It's another area of the brain. Meditation makes up for some of the deficits we may have in our primary matrix neuron growth. So again, he's just talking about spiritual practices that help to bring you into this awareness more fluidly. Next slide.
Oops, there it is.
There it is. This slide was basically talking about which hormones bring on certain effects. Next slide, can you bring this one in? Does someone come in? No, this is auric field. I think we kind of skipped over that slide. It was also from the book. Go back, you can go back. I think that slide has got eliminated. But it was talking about some of the energy cycles in the body and how they were affected by particular hormones, namely testosterone and estrogen and oxytocin. And in that particular slide, the author was talking about how when you go into this ascension process, it's very much like being in love. You know, you have the phases of infatuation. When people go into infatuation, they also have hormonal changes in their body. And that's what happens, again, because the atom was split and the feminine and masculine was externalized. That means we walk around with a feminine and masculine side of self that's unbalanced, so we're looking for that balance. So you look for it in another person. But it never seems to get into balance because it really should all be within the self. So he was explaining, I'm sorry the slide's missing, but they were explaining about how they study the hormonal phases of an individual when they go into love. Now let me say the word. When they rise in love, and they really have hormonal changes, and they can compare these changes to what they see when someone goes through the ascension process. It's like being in love, but it's more permanent because they say what happens usually in relationships, the hormone levels, after you get a little disappointed, those hormone levels start dropping back down. You stop being sharp for your mate and all of that. You're not in love. It's not the same anymore. But they've got scientific. I wish the slide had been there, but we're gonna talk about this some more because we gotta get together on this. You know, this is worth really investigating and seeing. Is it real? Okay. All right. So, how many slides do we have? This is my conclusion. It's been my pleasure to present to you current data regarding the phenomenal concept of ascension, Kundalini, and conscious awakening from a physiological standpoint. My goal is to give and receive knowledge from a collective group like ourselves who have interest in this information. I would like those of you who have more knowledge and information about experiences with regards to this topic to continue to share, to come forth and share and continue to share. I hope that I've been of good service to you. Thank you for coming out. I was hoping we had a little time for Q&A, but I think we got to get out of here. But the subject is so vast. Bakoya, are you able to pull up what I call the homework It just came to me today, the document by Peter Sterling.
Oh, no.
He's an adept. If you can look, so do you remember the name of it, the title of it?
It had something to do about explaining the Merkaba.
Yeah.
That's the title that they had on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this concept or geometry of the Merkaba and how it's actually within the blood. This geometry is in the blood and in the DNA, and it's actually like called this chariot, the chariot that takes you to the higher states of consciousness. You know, something you have, pardon me?
Interdimensional travel, interdimensional.
Right. So you gotta have a chariot to get there. Okay. And this is something, there's actual geometric structures that are within the body, within the blood. Again, like we say, we saw certain forces within the DNA and within all of life. And the geometry is very important.
We actually have it, we just got to turn it on.
Yes, it just has to be turned on. It's there. The map and the blueprint is there. So again, I want to thank you. There's no time for Q&A. So thank you for coming out, sharing and supporting. And you got everyone's information. We can do this again. Erev Tov.
I'll play your theme song. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, fuck shit. Right, Ascension, we're going to close out.
Everybody humbly stand in your places and humbly your spirits. Bakisha, now let's talk about Ya Yahweh, Ein Taka Shamayim Shema Kir, Anitan Lifnei Adam, Asher Bo, Levasher, Ein Yeshua Kedet, Shuba Yahweh, revoke all Beit Israel, Naragida Kadai, Shema Israel, Yahweh, Avinu, Yahweh, El Chai. Neil Yo, Your high, Sila.